Got the wrong glasses on, putting on the right glasses. There we go. Can you hear me? I hope you can. I hope you can, because I've got a microphone here that my husband, maybe a little bit too. Just let me know in the comments if you can see and hear me. We're working on stuff here. We're working. And let's hope that happens. Okay. Yay, perfect. Okay, thank you, Mama Koala, and then one persona. I wicked appreciate it, and Becky too. Thank you, you guys, because as I just said, because there's actually some recording and stuff going on down the hallway here. I just said to our friend Richie, the father of our friend Olivia, and hopefully this will not crack up. Hopefully this will sound a little bit better, and we'll just go from there, won't we, people? So good morning. Oh. There we go. Had a bit of an alfalfa happening. Danielle Zink says loud and clear. All righty. See, the funny thing is when I was using the microphone here on my computer, I don't even know where it is. It might be up there. So good morning. Not too loud though, just right. And also the great thing is we all have our volumes at home. So yay. Good stuff. And Mary and Regina and Cheryl and Leslie, or Leslie with an S or Leslie with a Z. You know. Whew, it has been a busy morning. And here we are, settling things down. And, oh, yeah, I don't like it when my chapstick gets on my white mug. Anywho, how are you? Are you doing well? I hope so. If you're not, let's do something to change that, because who doesn't want to feel well? All sorts of fun stuff going on. I believe most of you are on the mailing list. Am I right? The mailing list group, the email group. You will hear that I am actively trying to call it something that sounds a little better than the email list. That sounds kind of boring. I'm trying to zhuzh it up a bit, but not make it too awkward, you know. Hey, Ellen, nice to see you. Trying to get the bathrooms clean because of COVID. Yeah. Bathrooms, clean bathrooms, they can make a difference. There's so much. I don't know about you guys. I think it's because sometimes the steam and the shedding of the skin, not to be gross, but I was just gross. And yeah, bathrooms can get extra dusty and crappy. They can. Luckily, they tend to be, at least in our house, it's pretty much the smallest room in the house. So at least it's a room that is chunked down. And it's got, surfaces that are easy to wipe and things like that. So, yay, good stuff, Lady Bandit and Michelle. Yay, people. Yay, people. I hope you all got the email that I sent out last night. There were a few people from this morning's TikTok live that signed up for the mailing list afterwards. So I'm going to be sending. So if you happen to be kind of happily doubly dipping, double dipping today, and you just signed up for the mailing list group this morning, the email group. Does that sound good? The email group this morning. I haven't resent the email from last night, but a lot of cool stuff going on. Yes, USC 595. Yeah, I saw some people signed up for the notebook party. I'm glad you're one of them. Now, as a heads up, and I will send something prior to the party itself. I am thinking, there we go. And Sue is excited to do the notebook party too. I am thinking, and especially because they're inexpensive, I don't want to overwhelm you with notebooks. However, I'm thinking that having 2 of them is going to be helpful. Okay, there we go. Poet Society membership, like the Move It Dead Poet Society. That might be a bit, I'm stumbling over email lists, so I don't know. That may not be good, but, could be. You never know. We do have the Pen Pal Club, right? Like, what is it? The B-52s have that song Deadbeat Club. I don't want to call anybody a deadbeat club. But if you want to get in touch with any of these people that you see here that are also interested in getting in touch with other people, is just reply to the big email that you got sent and say Pen Pal. And that's all you need to do. And I'll put you on the list. And then the people on the list are really taking it from there. Okay. I don't want to micromanage that. I don't want to manage it. I don't want to any kind of manage it, but I want to make sure that you guys have a way to connect with each other when I am not there to be the hub of connection right here, the Rock of Boston. That one persona finally getting around to cleaning and sorting the stuff that is accumulated in our bedroom. The bedroom tends to be an accumulation spot for many of us. We talked about this a little bit on a recent live. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense because it is typically one of the more private rooms in your house that you can call what we would call like this room seriously used to be the pitch and ditch room. So yeah, listening to a few of the lives between the early TikTok lives and this one, cool, that one persona. Here's a great thing, you guys. The recordings are great for listening and background because you can't participate. You're not, and there's really no way you can actively participate in a recording. Sometimes people put little comments in them, but it's really about the live. The recordings are good also because there's something, again, if I'm not here, you have something to listen to that's better than nothing to listen to and learn from. And you can stop and you can rewind and you can take notes and you can put on captions and you can speed up the way I talk, though I talk pretty fast and I can't believe you want to speed this up, but sometimes you can slow it down. It's kind of funny that way. But here, you guys, let us proclaim the mystery of faith. Let us embrace the live and liveliness of an actual live YouTube live. It's 11:08 Eastern time on Tuesday, July 15th. And a bunch of you are tuned in and in the comments, commenting back and forth. The best thing we can do with this time is to embrace the interactivity that occurs with it, and especially the small amount of people that we have on this live. Because I can help answer your questions. I can remind you of the tools in your toolkit. Little thing, I feel like putting a note that just says toolkit right there. What tools you already have in your toolkit that you forget you can use for when you're stuck. If you're stuck, there's tools to help you get going. If you're all, active and frantic, there's ways to calm you down. If you're all kind of sluggish, there's ways to kind of perk you up. There's ways to help you get to this is backwards, your destination, get closer to it in a way that feels good. There we go. Leslie M says, since I'm in a hotel room, I'm here with pen and notebook. Now, the interesting thing, I love me a lovely hotel. Do not get me wrong. It has taken me 4 to 5 decades of my life to actually travel and stay in nicer hotels or hotels at all, because we used to crash with people, doing the rock and roll thing. So Leslie, is there something you like about the hotel room you're in? What is something, and I do this when I'm on vacation or traveling, what is something that I'm specifically noticing that I like or I don't like about this hotel room? And I will write it down. I typically write it down because when I'm traveling, I bring my good book, and I will write down those kind of observations of what I like in a hotel room. And the more I know what to ask for or even just book, I want a room with a ocean view versus a jungle view. I want one with ocean front versus ocean view. I want one that doesn't have a tub, that has like a big walk-in shower. So whenever you're even in somebody's house, watching stuff on TV, looking at a TikTok live, what are some of the specifics that you say, ooh, I really like that, versus places where you're like, meh, that's really not for me? That is good stuff to write down. Is there anything I have said recently that I wasn't clear about? That you're like, I kind of get it, but I don't really get it? I'm happy to elaborate and to use different metaphors and to really meet you where you're at, because it does me no good. It's almost like it is a skill, like math is a skill. Like you can't do division until you learn addition and subtraction. So I don't want to gloss over the basics. And a lot of this stuff is truly, and I mean it in a good way, this is basic stuff. And I mean that not in a like you should know it, but it's simple things. But if we don't kind of have a good handle on the basic tools in your toolkit, it's harder to use the ones that might be a little bit more advanced. Okay. Um, okay. So I love this. That one persona says, in watching a recorded live, I loved the discussion about growing up with unrealistic expectations about how a home should look. You compared how Papa Bear's bed was perfect for him, but not for Goldilocks. Yeah. And here's the interesting thing, even just I'll riff on because I'm like a jazz cat, man. I'm like a jazz cat. I will pull a note, I will pull a word out of what somebody says and I'll riff on it. So I love your addition of, or just unrealistic expectations. Now, realistic expectations. And just real quick, and I see your question, Leslie, I will totally get to the habit tracker and we can work on it real time. Anybody, I'll give you a heads up. Most of you are on the mailing list. Most of you have access to the secret page. Even though it is halfway through July, sorry, I spaced out. Even though it's halfway through July, you can start your habit tracker today. It's wicked easy, and we will go through it step by step, okay, after this. But just thinking about unrealistic expectations of having your house meet certain high-level criteria, that can be realistic for somebody who has interest, time, energy, money, all the things to get there. But if you don't have the interest and you don't have the energy and you don't have the time to get it up there, what I highly love is lowering the bar. Lower your expectations to a level that feels good to you. I don't want to what is that? When you over improve a residence. I have a level that I'm good with. And yes, it could be better, but I'm cool with where it is. Okay. So think about what your expectations are. Do you expect to have, a bed that is made like the housekeeping came in and did hospital corners and really tight sheets and all that type of thing every morning? Now, I would like that if somebody came in and did it. I'm not going to do it because it takes too much effort and it gets me frustrated and I don't care that much. But what's better for me is to kind of straighten out the sheets and put on the coverlet, kind of do that. Good enough. Good enough for me. It's better than having it where the sheets are all crumbly. You know what I mean? Okay, so Leslie is asking about the habit tracker. So habit tracker, I have mine and I printed it out from the secret page. I do it every month because I'm in the habit of doing that. And I am in the habit of using this. I am seriously cracking up because I had the one from last month still on here as of yesterday. And then I said, why am I keeping this? So the habit tracker is really beneficial for those little micro things. And a lot of the things that you should be doing, and I say should, you could be doing to make your life better. Yeah, and Leslie, Wicked Easy is a great tool. Forgot how you use the colors. The colors are wicked simple. The colors are totally, because one of my clients said, I get bored with making it all, just filling it in with my pencil. So I'm going to use colors. And I thought, that never occurred to me, but that sounds like fun. So what I have done, I've done a couple of things, Leslie. So I'll share with you. Roy G. Biv, do you remember him? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Okay, the rainbow. I have already a set of highlighters that are roughly the size of the rainbow. And I decided that for each day of the month, I would pick a color of the rainbow. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, red, orange, yellow, green. Today should be blue. Is that today? Oh gosh, I'm a couple of days out because I skipped the weekend. I have some catching up to do. So I will share this with you. Last month, I thought it would be fun, or maybe the month before, to use a different color and have the stripes go this way. What I found out, and hello, Kimmy, and hello, Gen X. One of the things I found that made that doing the stripes this way more difficult was that each one of these things is something you do per day. Like this column is for, July 1st. And each one of these things is a little thing I do per day. When I was doing the colors this way, I had to use 5 colors and it was a pain. So I just have them using down. So one day is going to be a color this way. Okay. What is best for the habit tracker is anything you have chunked down And it's something you want to increase the frequency of when you do things. And they are small things that they are not necessarily, they are the things that if you don't write it down, you could easily not do it. So I will read to you what I have on mine, okay, to give you an idea of how small these chunks are. Mine are mostly to do. There we go. Yes, Leslie, right here. I was literally, high five, lady. I was just about to say the very first one on mine is vitamins. So I have vitamins, then total old people talk moment, fiber. Right? Then I have water number 1, because one of these things is 32 ounces. So water number 1 and walk number 1. Now I've experimented with like 32 ounces of water or a half an hour walk. I don't like to get too uptight about this stuff because I don't like to disappoint myself. If I get in 2 walks of a day, if it gets to be 10,000 steps, that's great. If it doesn't, I don't worry about it. Okay. One of the things I have added to mine, Leslie, that I will share with you is flossing my teeth. Now, I don't know about you. Maybe you're all great at flossing. I'm pretty good at brushing my teeth in the morning. Literally just did it a few moments ago. Will do it before I go to bed. The flossing, however, I don't like to do it every day. Don't particularly care to do it. It's just not a habit. But I will share with you that I have in this month, because I put it on my habit tracker and I look at my habit tracker, and before I go to bed or when I wake up in the morning, it reminds me that's right. And I look at it, and sometimes when I see, for example, like a whole bunch of X's or O's, potholes, things like that, where I haven't done something in a number of days, like there were a number of days last week, I did not do walk number 2, but then I look and it's because we were at a party, we were chilling, we were like, it was a holiday weekend and it was crazy hot out. So that's okay, but I notice, and then it's like, okay, it's been a few days since I flossed. I will make a point to floss today. Okay? Yeah. Wow, Gen X says I never regularly flossed until I got the invisible aligners. Now it's every time I eat for the past 2.5 years. Right. Notice that the way we are all wired, some things become an organic habit, other ones we just need a little tool in the toolkit. Your habit tracker is a tool in your toolkit. It's okay to use a tool to make things easy. Like, is it so wrong to use a hammer to make it easier for you to hammer in a nail, or a screwdriver to screw or unscrew a screw? I say no. Use a tool to make things easier. Your notebooks are going to be tools for your toolkit. There's something I just thought of. It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. Oh, here it is. Thank you, brain. One of the things that tends to get people stuck and not decluttering at all is thinking that it's going to take too long and I don't have enough time and it's going to take forever, and all those those thoughts in your head about time. Now, your head is a wonderful thing. Your brain is a wonderful thing. Love is a wonderful thing. Your brain is great for creativity. Your brain is not the secretary, though. Your brain is not the admin. Your brain can be a very poor judge of how long something will take. So it will tend to overestimate how long something will take, especially if it's something you don't particularly want to do or you're not in the habit of. If all of you are not as decluttered as you want to be, I highly recommend this simple one-line item on your habit tracker, which would be declutter for anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes. How's that? Daily declutter 5 minutes. Daily declutter 15 minutes. Notice I could have chunked down my water. I could have said daily water 8 ounces. Now this is doable for me. I don't, throughout the day, a sip at a time. So I say the habit tracker is a way to encourage you to bust that myth of it's going to take forever. I need to take all day. I don't have time. It's to chunk it down into a little bite-sized bit. So you say, I can do that. I can get started. And especially if it's something that you're not particularly enthused about, one of the things you can do also to get yourself started is start your timer. Start your timer for that 25 sold, chunk of time to declutter. Getting in the habit of showing up and doing something small but consistent. And notice my mouth is saying consistent, but if you're not looking at the screen, my hand is going kind of metz, kind of iffy. This is because consistency often is equated with perfection, doing it perfectly. Now, we all like a streak, right? Ooh, look at me, I'm on a roll. During COVID, I had a roll on Duolingo. Not that I can speak Spanish right now, but I say be more consistent than you are now, but do not even strive for perfection. Because if you strive for it and you don't get it, you're going to feel bad. Strive for being better than you were last month. And what do I mean better? By doing something one more time this month that you said you wanted to do than you did last month. Okay. That's why I call the habit tracker pavers and potholes. Because every day you do something, you are paving the way towards your thing, but you are inevitably going to hit a pothole. So when you're driving your car, you don't let one little pothole derail your whole road trip. You say, oops, I didn't do it yesterday. That's fine. I'll do it today. Like yesterday. Seriously, you guys? Here, I'm going to do it with you right now. Monday the 14th. I don't know why. I did not take my vitamins. I did not take any fiber. I did do some water, but I'm not going to fill that in. I did some of that. I didn't flush. Did I floss my teeth? I feel like I flossed my teeth one of these days. You know what? I'm just going to put a pothole and I will make sure I do it tonight. The other thing that's going to increase me doing it tonight is I'm going to write it down on my daily thing here. Asterisk floss teeth. That's a tool in your toolkit. Okay? Yay! There we go. Now this is fun. Kat Roby's here. She just took her vitamins, so you and I are on the same wavelength. Also, Kat, I am speaking into an external microphone, so hopefully there will not be crackles. We did review yesterday's video to hear what it was, and my husband set up a microphone, so hopefully this will be clearer and less irritating audio-wise, okay? But I love it, Kat. You just took your vitamins. I just took my vitamins. I did a yoga and a walk. You did yoga and a walk. You call mine your streak. Boog day. Oh, yes, they call it the streak. So, and that's good to know. It sounds wonderful. Perhaps I'll keep this microphone on my camera, on my desk, and have somebody else. My husband's got a million microphones. He's Mr. Microphone. I'm on the radio. I love it. That'd be fun. Maybe I'll have him put the windscreen on top of that. See, now I'm thinking it's fun versus boring. Okay. Of course, we thought it was Ray Stevens doing the streak. Don't look, Ethel. Boogity. Yeah, why not? Have it fun. So you can go for a streak, aim for a streak, sure, but do not be disappointed when life isn't perfect. Do not disappoint yourself by striving for perfection, because you're not going to perfect it. Something's going to happen. You're going to hit a pothole. Don't let it stop you. Realize potholes are part of life. Don't let it disrupt you, and just keep going the next day or as soon as you can in that day. So good stuff. Go, Cat, go. Now I'm thinking of, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy or something. Or Brian Setzer, Stray Cats and all that. So anyhow, that is how I use the habit tracker. I've been using it for years. It has been available to everybody on the Destination Decluttered email group. If you haven't played with it, give me a reason why you haven't done it. And I'll help you through that. Or if you've played with it and you haven't used it, I can probably help you change one little thing to increase your frequency. Here's a couple of things. Notice what I have done with mine. I have it on a clipboard because it's easy for me to have it. It makes it a little bit more easy to not get lost in the shuffle of stuff. And I tend to keep it somewhere where I see it frequently. Now, for me, I spend a lot of time here in my desk. So I tend to have it here. Your life, examine what could you do? Because it's like, oh, I misplaced it. I forgot to look at it. Well, oftentimes, especially if you're a visual person, you put things in sight so you look at it, you know? Yeah, I really, the clipboard was something that made it different for me. Also because I have a hard, a firm surface that if I want to be doing it and I can just go zhuzh, 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 right? So there we go. Kimmy's asking, anybody recommend a good insulated cup? Jen is inquiring for hot or cold drinks. I have different cups for water versus hot coffee. There we go. I got nothing. Yeah, I have like a Contigo water thing, but you see me. I use the same stuff all the time. Play with that, with the habit tracker, even just this week. Set the bar low. Say, I'll just try it for a day. Let me see what happens if I just play with it for a day. Okay. Here's another thing too that came up during the TikTok live today. So to clue you guys in on, everybody, I say kind of like raise of hands. How many people here have items in their home that you're not using, but you haven't opened and the tags are still on them? Okay. I love it. Kat says she just switched to profile. Yeah. So does anybody here have stuff they could conceivably that you haven't opened yet, and there's a reason you haven't opened it, that it's still in its new packaging? You may have the receipt, you may not. This will be the week. Let's get caught up on our returns, shall we? All righty. Therapy Gal Sue, all right, says, how can I develop a plan for decluttering when I have a big house for just me? Here, chunk it down. Chunk it down. I will share with you, Sue. I have seen a lot of people on social media, various declutterers and organizers and whatnot, who have a very formalized schedule. Monday I do this, Tuesday I do that. It reminds me of when I worked at one of my very first jobs. I worked at an ice cream store, and they had, Monday we would order the ice cream, Wednesday the ice cream was delivered, Thursday we chopped the, Reese's, whatever it was. I don't roll like that. Okay. So Sue, what I would do is chunk it down. I would pay attention to the rooms I'm in most often. If it's just you and you are in a big house, now you're saying decluttering versus like cleaning and stuff like that. I would work in concentric circles, frankly. Okay. I would work in concentric circles, and I would start with the rooms that I spend the most time in, because that's where you're going to get the most satisfaction when you have less clutter in it. So I would start with, where do I walk into the house? What's the first thing I see? Now, we don't go in our front door, we go in our back door. What do I see there? How can I declutter this so the moment I leave my home or come back, I've got that decluttered. So focusing on the areas that you lose. Like if there was, I always say this, think about this. Regardless of how big your home is, because ours is only 1,500 square feet. If there was a time progression, what do you call it? Time lapse heat map of your home. What are the places that are going to show that you spend a lot of time? And what are the places that you basically use as a glorified hallway? Okay. So think about the places you spend the most time. Those are the places that are going to affect your mental health. Now, I say this, and yet I've had clients who said it made them feel really good to start in the basement, where they spend barely any time, but at least they know it was done. But I like to be surrounded by areas that make me feel good. So chunking it down and creating that category of what are the rooms that I spend the most time in. And then I would go to that room. And this is, again, no wonder we're going to have so much fun with the notebook party, because I'm always reaching for a notebook. I would open up my notebook. And here's me kind of practicing the process. I would open up to the back of it, okay? Because you want to create like your master list, okay? There we go. You worked in an ice cream store too, Cat Roby? I believe we're sisters from another mister, okay? Not brothers from another mother. I would do this. If I had, let's say, 4 rooms that I spent the most time in, I would open up my cheapo notebook, my notebook to the back, okay? I would, because I like a column. A column helps keep things organized, but I can't draw a straight line, and I don't want to get too perfecto on it. I like to create my columns by folding. You know, you'll always see me saying fold the paper in half, right? Sometimes I get fancy and I fold it in half twice, so I get 4 columns. Okay, I love it. Kimmy worked at DQ, love it. Then I would use each one of these columns as a category, and I would say, you know, we'll call it the nook, kitchen, bedroom, office. Okay, so now I have a place to put the thoughts in my head about what I see, and then I would go to that room and I would write down, just in that room, what are the things that bug me about this room? Because what you want to do is, something bugs you, that's an irritation. You want to resolve any of the irritations. You don't want to be bugged. You just want to walk in and go, not oh. So what are the things that make you go, oh, in that room? And you write them down. Okay? Write them down and create a big old menu list. Then, just because you wrote it down, 2 things. Doesn't mean you have to do it all at once. Do not, because we're going to chunk that down too. And doesn't mean you have to do all of it. Now, Sue just said she lives alone, so maybe you have to do it, but maybe you could pay somebody. I will tell you, we had somebody come in yesterday and do the floors and the dusting and stuff like that there. It was such a good use of some money. I walk around and she saw stuff I didn't see, and she got down and she did a great job, and it was well worth it for me. So I say to you, it's okay to spend money to make your living space easier. For me, it ended up being 2. I had asked her rates beforehand. Some people were charging. She charged a wonderful amount, and it was wonderful. And the neat thing is, I will share with you guys, I scheduled her to come back next month. And she said, yeah, it definitely wouldn't take me as long next month, because she was starting from like 0 in our house. It will be only a month since she did it. And she also knows, so it's in her routine. I am also helping somebody make money in this economy. So me spending money on a local person coming and helping me in my house helps me, and it helps her. And it really was truly, it was a big deal for me. I've never done it before in my life. No. But man, I could get used to that, and it feels good. Okay. Now, that one persona hit a mental wall in the bedroom. I get you. It's okay. Pivot. Feel free to pivot, but notice at some point you'll have to go back to that bedroom. But this is where we talk about when you say I hit a mental wall. Notice how you feel physically and mentally and nervous system-y. If you're out of steam, if it's hard to make decisions, it's fine to just go more to the shallow end of the pool. To do, I'll fold some laundry versus, should I keep this thing that my grandmother gave me but I never really liked? Okay. So pay attention to how you feel physically, energetically, emotionally, and match the task to the levels of those tanks in your car. If you say I can't even, that's probably not a good time for you to, create something new. But if you're more well rested, if it's at that time of day where you have more focus and energy. Now, for me, I tend to be fairly early birdie. Last night, I had to rev up my engine to do an email. Once I got started, it was fine. But usually during the day, the evening is when I kind of wind down. Okay, there we go. Yes, there we go, Sue. So seriously, even right now, you could open up your notebook and store clutter. And notice we tend to keep the public, not always, but we tend to keep the public spaces in our home looking better for other people. Us too, but for other people. Like we have other people in the other room. There's a woman in the other room I've never met. You bet your sweet Bippy I wanted this house to look good before she came over. It looked fine. She wouldn't have known had we not had the cleaning person just came yesterday, whatever. But there's that even with the cleaning person, we threw some things in the bedrooms in this room just to increase the amount of surfaces she was able to clutter because she can't declutter, you know? Yes. So I would look around your office and just do it counterclockwise, clockwise. What's something that bugs you? It doesn't have to be in any great order. What I will say is just getting those thoughts out of your head, articulating them. In order to write something down, your brain has to create a word for it. And I highly recommend with every place that you do this, if with every little thing in that room, think of what verb could be slightly better than declutter. Mix around with it. Sort those papers. Pay those bills. Scrub that toilet, Mary Coker. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Mary says, I want it, but I want the first floor good enough that I feel okay when people pop by. So notice the difference between somebody being scheduled to arrive and somebody popping by. Notice how you're doing it for you to feel good about that. You know? Okay. Okay, interesting. So Cat Roby is sitting here staring, even though she's talked about this purple chair. I know it because she talked about it earlier, because I realize I'm not on the chunk where I'm thinking about the stuff and notes from the purple chair. I'm on the chunk where I put it in the place to find it when there's time to process. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And if you thought you were going to be ready to do the purple chair and then you're like, nah, I can't do it, having a plan and having some flexibility. What is that? Lovely hula hands, right? Waving palms. This is waving palms. Get it? Palms, like waving palms. Having a plan, but be flexible with your plan. Yeah. And here's the great thing, Kat Roby, spot on. Kat has discovered something that I realized too. So this is why I've divided clutter into surface, stored, and sentimental. Surface, you can listen and do things. Surface clutter decluttering is pretty much the stuff that's habitual, that your brain doesn't even need to engage or process to do it. You can open up the dryer and fold the laundry and be listening and engaging. You can put away the dishes, you can wipe the counters. A lot of that surface area stuff is stuff that you do not need to engage your decision-making brain. However, and this is where I shift to liking to have quiet when I go through my stored clutter and especially my sentimental clutter, because I need to listen to myself in those categories. I need to hear my answer of, do I want to keep that dress or not? I need to listen to my answer when I say, what should we do with that thing, grandpa's left us? So notice the difference. It can be helpful for some people to have something running in the background, because I was thinking about this because my sister's like this. Having something running on in the background while she's doing something gives her calm. I think at one point there was a trend on like the TikToks and the YouTubes calling it like brown noise or something. I think brown and I think poop. So I'm like, it's not going to work for me. She needs that. And what I think that is, frankly, for me, that would be to kind of run interference, to create a buffer so you can't hear your backseat drivers. What I prefer to do, so this is me, notice there's options. Find the tool that works for you. I like to address my backseat drivers before I even start. I say, hey, before we even start this road trip, I know you're going to speak up at one point. Before we even start, what's your list of grievances? What are the things that you're going to be bitching about in the back seat? And let's problem solve this before we even start. To me, that feels better. And then I can listen to my own thoughts more. I am not afraid of my own thoughts. I have made peace with and friends with my backseat driver and especially my co-pilot. So I love to hear from them. If they are my friends versus my enemies, why would I want to tune them out? It's like hanging out with a good friend. You want to ignore everything else and just sit there and listen to your friend who you love so much to tell you all about that cool stuff she's been doing. Even the backseat driver, frankly, is has valuable information. That voice has valuable information because they're telling you exactly what you need to hear that stops you. Once you have that formula, you can create the antidote to it, and that should get you going. Pretty cool, huh? That's why we work with the opposites. Fear-based thoughts have you stopping. Love-based thoughts have you going. Fear-based thoughts have you stopping. Love-based thoughts have you going. So you can create an opposite, the antidote by using the opposite words, whatever their sentence is, reconstruct it. And this again is where you grab your notebook, you fold the paper in half, and then you write down, where is it? Backseat driver thoughts. But then you transform them into co-pilot thoughts. And then you write down, what are they telling you to make you feel crappy and why you're not doing it? Oh, I have ADHD. I can't do that. I've always been decluttered. I don't have the time. I'm exhausted. You're not good at this. It's not even going to matter. It's just going to get decluttered anyway. Whatever crabs in the back seat, and they're not the good kind, that you break open and have Old Bay with. Nah. But you're like, oh, okay, interesting. Previously on LA Law, you have said those things to me, and I have listened to you, and I've done what you said. I have not done the thing because of those words, but this is different because I want things to be different. So I'm going to need to do different things. So notice again, even in this time, how handy it can be to have a notebook down to capture these moments, because those are the moments that you've been perhaps oblivious to in years past, days past, earlier today, yesterday. Now, when you become aware of them, you have an opportunity to do something different with the way you think, which will then trickle down to the way you feel. And when you're thinking differently and feeling differently and you're feeling better in both departments, not perfect, just better. When you're thinking better and feeling better, ta-da, you're gonna do better. And what is doing better? Oftentimes that's being able to somewhat easily get started on something, So that's the process. Now that one persona is kind of walking us around her house saying, update, went to the kitchen, then my body was like, nah, taking a break before I have to get ready for appointments. Yeah, notice how one of the very first steps we use, and I kind of jumped into this because I know it's a small crew here, and most of you are part of the mail email group that you already know to check in with your body from the crown on down. I may even buy myself a little tiara. Tiara on down doesn't rhyme though, so it's going to have to be a crown. From the crown on down, how do I feel? How's my energy? It's just like looking at the dashboard of your car. Oh, I don't have a lot of gas, so I'm not going to drive further in this direction. I'm going to stop so I have enough gas in my tank when I have these appointments I have to do. So again, you can have a plan, but then you got to check in with your levels, your energy, your gas tank, and all that. Yeah, and Ellen is saying, notice, these are great nuggets. So she's kind of noticing it, but when you're busy doing something, you're not actively listening. Now, many of us think, and notice that's even that kind of notion of, what is it? When you do two things at once, multitasking. Multitasking means pretty much you're doing two things half-assed as opposed to one item full-assed, right? So it is good to hear these things as Ellen's doing this, but she can't necessarily write it down. That's okay. She's realizing that and I'm setting you up for success, Ellen, because today is July 15th. This is the 11 a.m. YouTube live, and the recording will be on the July playlist. And this is happening right around the 45-minute mark that you said that. So notice you're saying, "Oh, there's something good here. I want to go back to doing that. I want to go listen to that." And maybe that's when I will stop doing the scrubbing and I will actively listen and I will take notes. You guys could write a book that would revolutionize your life if you really just wrote down the things that I said and shared with you that resonated with you. Now, Ellen says, "I hope I remember." Okay, Ellen, there are some tools in your toolkit to increase the likelihood that you remember. This is one of the reasons why I use, and maybe I don't know if we'll get to Trello when we're doing the notebook thing, but if it were me, I would literally be, oh, I don't want to forget. So I would open up my phone. I would open up my Trello app. And then I literally would just hit add a card to I have like a kind of a slush fund, like just list. And I would say, remember to watch that recording from July 15th, 11 a.m. YouTube, because Beth said a lot of good stuff and I want to write those things down. You've gotten that thought out of your head and you've written it down digitally. Okay? Yeah. The more you write down, and you can't just set it and forget it, unlike Ron Popeil. Writing it down gives you something to go back to. This is the great thing about when we're doing the party. Okay, even earlier. Okay, you write down when you go from room to room the stuff you want to do. Do not get overwhelmed by the big list. Think of it as a menu. You can pick and choose what you do in certain rooms, but this helps you so you're not reinventing the wheel every single time you walk into a room. You go into that room and you have a list of things that you already told yourself that if you do this thing, you will feel better. Okay? So writing it down sometimes is like throwing up, but no, you have to go through and go back to what these things are. Okay, Elo is saying, "Oh yes, please include Trello in the notebook party." I will for a little bit, but it really is, honest to God, you guys, it's just another way of creating lists. So I will add that. Okay, Elo, you better show up at the party and you got to remind me of it, okay? I will write it down, of course, because I'm like that. And I like to keep promises to other people and myself. And what day is that? Let me check. That's the 26th. So that the notebook party is Saturday, July 26th. It was going to be the 12 o'clock noon declutter party. It is now the notebook party. I'm writing that down. And I'm also writing down Trello. And I will say this. So 2 notebooks. Get 2. Can't hurt. 2 notebooks, a pen, and Trello review. Okay? So there we go. This is a system that has worked for me for the last many years, and I will just share with you. Yeah, Ellen says, "I still like my old-fashioned paper lists." I do too. That's why I start with paper, and I like to start in the simplest way possible, lowering the barrier to getting started. Many of us are comfortable with paper and pen. Some of us are technologically not as interested in that. However, work with the tools that you're comfortable with working with, kind of repeating myself here, but use the tools you have. So Ellen, if you like to write things down, maybe you write it down. You get off, get out of the bathroom and just write down somewhere where you will see it. Heck, maybe take a piece of soap and write it on use a piece of soap to write it on the mirror in the bathroom. "Mirror in the bathroom, please stop free. The door is locked, just you and me." You could write it in, or you could be like, what was that? Liz Taylor with the lipstick, say, rewatch or re-listen to that. I just wrote it in a journal. Good. Now, here's a funny thing I will share with you again about, and I don't mean this to be like all about the notebook process, but it is really, I don't want to get too much into. I will also mention, but I will not require. You said wrote it in a journal. I consider this type of book to be a journal. This is different from this book because of a couple of things. One is this is easy to tear the pages out of, and it's very informal and casual. This is where you do your problem solving. This is where you do your scheduling. But you don't want to keep this because it's going to be, totally messy if you use it in the way you should, because you should be interacting with it. I mean, seriously, look at this. Do you want to keep that? No. This is for pulling the good stuff out of this notebook and keeping this. That's why I have only 3 of these, but they've lasted me 5 years. And they're filled with nothing but good stuff. Okay, but we'll go all over that on the 26th. We've done the habit tracker. We've mentioned notebooks. Chunking it down. Seriously, you guys, it will always go back to calming down your nervous system, checking in with your body. How do I feel? Am I energetic? Am I focused? Am I not focused? Am I hungry? Do I have to pee? Fixing the things that you can fix body-wise so you feel better. Calming down your nervous system so your energy feels better. And then writing down. Yeah, no, LO says, I will never give up my paper notebooks. Cool thing is, you don't have to. Yeah. That's the great thing. Use what you have. I am offering just a way of doing things that could increase the likelihood of you making things be easier. But if you have a system, this is my deal always. Even when I was kind of consulting and doing process engineering and all that type of thing. If your system, which is just an order of operations, if your system gets you the result you want, and it's easy and it's efficient and you're not using a lot of energy or time, don't change a thing. Do not break what doesn't need to, don't fix what isn't broken. You know what I mean? That thing. However, if what you're doing is taking too long and too much energy and you're still not feeling like you're anywhere closer to your destination decluttered, that, my friend, is when we should probably experiment with stopping using your current system and try a new system. Play around with it. Experiment. See if it works. See what works about it. Perhaps you can create a hybrid. Well, I've used this and it works, and then I incorporated what you had. It's not going to be a one size fits all. It's going to be create something that works for you. That's specifically why I will not create one of those fancy dancy hardbound books with rigid, this is where you put this and this is where you put that, because it's going to be different for everybody. That's why I use a notebook, and it works for me, because a blank page with some lines on it, you can fold it, you can tear it out, you can flip it over, you can draw lines on it, you can cross it over. So flexible. And yet it helps you get a plan. So we got that going on. My goodness, it's already 11:53. We've got 7 minutes. What else is going on here? Let's see. That was yesterday. I've got some stuff catching up to do. Here's a fun thing. I don't know if any of you have photographs that, like, you look at your photos on your phone and you can create a folder, an album, I guess they would call it, for your things. I'm not kidding you. When I literally created an album, I'm trying to look for it. Where is it? Oh, it's in here somewhere. Where'd it go? Regardless, it literally said pictures of me for my funeral. Why the hell not? Because there's a cute picture of me, and I was like, oh, you know what? If anybody ever does like a what do you call it, slideshow, or even a poster board, I like that picture of me. I want to be remembered that way. Yeah, just kind of goofy. I got to find where it is, though. I digress. We get about 5 minutes left. How can I help you in the next 5 minutes? Maybe it's just shutting up so you can write down some of the stuff that I said. Today's the 15th. I did a TikTok live. Check. I went to yoga. Check. I did a walk. Check. I did a YouTube live. Check. Cliff helped me with crackly microphone from the Mac. See the video that Kat Roby sent me. Check. Richie has arrived. Check. Do a YouTube live on the patio when it's not raining. Well, it's not going to happen today because we have people over, but I think I have that scheduled for sometime next week. And here's a fun thing. I have a whole bunch of kind of spaces. Oh, I guess that's the one thing too. If anybody wants to do one-on-one coaching, that always starts with a consultation. And this week and next week, I have front loaded both weeks with a lot of opportunities to do a consultation. I know the summer can be a busy season, but I wanted to make sure I gave you every opportunity that was available in my calendar to do that. I don't have many consultations today, so I have a schedule with some flexibility in it. And you know what I'm doing? I will go to my version of my like master list. Where was it here? And I will look at the things that I have accumulated to get done, and I will put them on today's list of things to do based on my energy, the time, the house situation. Like I'm not about to vacuum when somebody's recording a vocal down the street, down the hallway rather. That's when those master lists, that's when that list of things can come in. Do not let a list overwhelm you. Your list is a direct map from your head and heart to your external world to say, I will feel better when the laundry is off the top of the washing machine. I will feel better when that floor is vacuumed. I will feel better when I open up that cupboard and finally declutter whatever the hell's in it. This is all about destination, feeling better in your home. So you look there and stuff is not yelling at you. And stuff will yell at you even behind doors and in drawers. You have X-ray specs. You have X-ray specs. You know when you walk past a closet, whether it is tidy and organized or whether it's a hot mess that's going to, fall all over you as soon as you open it. If you don't know what's in things, go for a treasure hunt, but chunk things down. I think it would be good to remind what we started with, which was the habit tracker. Chunk things down into a chunk that feels doable. It feels like you're saying, I can do that. I can hold that pose for 2 breaths. I can declutter every day or most days for 5 to 15 minutes a day. Every little bit helps. And then when you start to track your success, and sometimes you're not success, that will get you noticing that you might want to start again, or it might get you curious why you weren't doing it. So visual reminders, putting your habit tracker someplace where you're going to see it, interacting with it. As I said, like, this is me. I'm the person who's telling you to do this stuff. I don't have things down for Saturday or Sunday or yesterday because I just hadn't done it. But I'm not going to beat myself up and say, oh, it's not perfect, I'm in trouble. Nah, I'm going to start today and then I'll kind of fake it in backwards. And if I didn't do a lot of that stuff, no big deal. It increases the likelihood that you will do stuff by chunking it down. And when you know what to do, because it's on your list, it's the stuff that will make you feel better. Okay. Now Cheryl's taken off. I do hear people talking. They probably need to start recording, so it's good that I'm off. I hope this microphone sounds better. I will go back and re-listen. All right. And if this seemed better than the crackly stuff that was before when I was using the internal mic, perhaps I'll just keep on using that. And I can also experiment with using my phone. Okay. This has been wicked fun. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I will see you all on the Muppet Show, as they say. And I'm just looking at Wednesday. Oh, Wednesday, tomorrow night is our YouTube Live in the evening. Okay, so how about this? Play around with some of these tools and show up to the evening YouTube Live and tell me how it went. All right? Always a pleasure. Hope this helped. And yeah, get your ticket for the notebook party. That's going to be fun. We have other declutter parties too, but that one I think is going to be fun as well. All right?